Have you ever felt like you're just waiting? Waiting for the real part of your life to start. That moment in the future when you finally hit the goal or finish the project. We get so caught up looking forward that we kind of forget where we actually are. But what if the secret to getting there isn't about staring at the horizon at all? What if it's all about understanding the power of a single, simple idea wrapped up in one quote? Just let that sit for a second. It's so simple, right? It's not some deep, complex philosophy. It's just a direct, powerful instruction. It sees our ambition, it grounds us in what's real, and then it completely flips the script on how we see our present moment. And that's the real question, isn't it? Because it's one thing to hear a nice quote and nod along, but it's a totally different thing to actually live it. How do we really harness the energy of right now, especially when we feel so far from where we want to be? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. Okay, so let's dive in. And to do that, we first have to look at that really tempting promise right at the beginning of the quote. Before we can even begin to appreciate here, we've got to get real about our deep human obsession with there. And this is so important. The quote doesn't say, forget your goals or don't dream big. No, it starts by validating them. It's giving you permission to want that future. That promise of there is a vital, powerful motivator for all of us. It's kind of like our North Star, It's what gives our whole journey a direction. So what exactly is this there? Well, for some of us, it's seeing that massive project finally done. For others, it's hitting that fitness milestone or maybe landing that absolute dream job. It's that perfect future that we just play on a loop in our minds. Psychologists actually have a name for the trap this can set. It's called the arrival fallacy. It's this mistaken belief that once we finally get there, we'll be happy forever. But the quote doesn't let us hang out in that daydream for long. It immediately, almost abruptly, yanks us right out of it and plants our feet firmly in the present with just a few simple words. Can you feel that shift? But right now, it's a reality check for sure. But it's not meant to be a downer. It's meant to be grounding. It forces us to just look at the gap between that ideal future and where we are right now in this moment. And this comparison, this gets right to the heart of why we get so frustrated. See, we live our lives over in the here column, in the present, in the messy process, in reality. But our minds, they love to hang out over in the there column, the future, the perfect outcome, the ideal. And that disconnect is pretty much the definition of impatience. So we feel this tension, right? This frustration with where we are. But what if we've been looking at it completely backwards? What if here isn't a bug, but a feature? What if it's not a waiting room at all, but the actual launch pad? And this brings us to the most powerful, most transformative part of the quote. This is the part that turns the whole idea on its head and reframes our present moment not as something we lack, but as our single greatest asset. I love this definition because we usually think of the start as the place where we have the least experience, the least progress. But this reframes it as the point of greatest potential. It's the one and only moment where pure possibility can be turned into real, actual action. So why is here so wonderful? Well, first off, you can't send an email from tomorrow. You can't go for a run last week. The present is the only place you have any control, the only place you can actually do anything. That's really the core of mindfulness. And second, here is where all your potential is just sitting, waiting to be used. And finally, unlike the future, which is just an idea, here is real. It's tangible. You can actually work with it. Okay, so getting all this in your head is one thing, but actually living it day in and day out, that's the real work. And that's where the quote's final instruction comes in. It's not just a nice thought to have, it's a practice. So how do we do that? How do we keep it in our minds? Let's make this super practical with a simple 3-step process. First, just acknowledge where you are. Just name it. I'm at the first draft. I'm on day 1 of my workout plan. No judgment. Second, actively appreciate it. Just say to yourself, okay, this is the point of greatest potential. And third, just take one tiny physical step. What's one small thing you can do right now to move forward? And ultimately, this is the big takeaway. The future you're dreaming of isn't built in the future. It's built today. It's built right now in 1,000 tiny present moments, a series of well-lived heres all stacked on top of each other. The process isn't in the way of the outcome. The process is the outcome. So I'll leave you with this. That finish line is waiting for you. That's a promise. But all the power, all the potential, all the opportunity, it's all right here, right now. The only real question left is, what are you going to do with it? Where will you start from?